Silver is in a breakout scenario right now. And if this trend continues to be confirmed, silver and especially silver mining stocks can be very exciting for an investor again. And today I'm joined by Ian Harris. He is the CEO of a company called Outcrop Silver, a company focused on the Santa Ana project in Colombia. It's a high-grade opportunity, and we want to explore if it's an opportunity for us to invest in. First of all, Ian, thank you very much for your time. It's great having you here today.
Yeah, a pleasure to be here, and obviously, hopefully, very exciting times for silver right now.
I hope so too. So let's have a look maybe at the general market before we dive into your exciting projects. As I said in the beginning, silver is in a breakout scenario. We've been waiting for it for quite a long time now, to be honest. What is your view on the overall macro side and the silver market?
So I'm a mining engineer. And as an engineer, I'm very practical. I like working in things that I can understand. It's not based on hope or dreams, et cetera, et cetera. And it's one of the reasons I love Outcrop Silver. I love the Santa Ana project because I'd like to see it become a future mine, right? And understand the underlying drivers and fundamentals for silver. So I'm going to start with, I do believe that new price discovery will happen in silver, right? Because we have such a dramatic supply and demand gap. The cumulative gap to date is about a year worth of production. So it's so big, right, that it's not, oh, it's a 2% gap, et cetera. It's a full year of production that's been building. Now, silver obviously has a lot of above ground inventory, but it's been chewing through that above ground inventory. So the catalyst is when there's a fear over physical delivery at today's prices, and classically silver historically has gone through multiple squeezes because this is not uncommon. So I think it will happen. I think that, and I truly believe that it will go dramatically higher because historically it's done that. But I also believe because of the fundamental macro drivers, and the biggest one being solar, I can come back to that we will see a much higher silver price over an extended period of time because it has to be incentivized. And it's hard to incentivize, and I'll go into that. So first, the big driver in silver is solar panels, right? There are new technologies too that can even push it beyond, because silver is the most efficient metal at the transmission of energy. It's more efficient than copper, okay? But the reason why you don't use silver and everything, obviously, it's more expensive. But in anything that's very high level is required of the best, the most efficient, and solar panels is a great example. It might be a very thin layer, but you need it so it doesn't oxidize, it lasts a very long time, and it's very efficient. Efficiency is important. So today, about 20% of all the silver in the world goes into solar panels, right? And solar panels is obviously in the energy mix is growing dramatically. So it's not even done yet. It's continuing to grow. So it's just consuming more and more and more and more silver. So I believe, right, that it's inevitable. It's a question of when, not if, in my opinion.
Yes, and I think what's very important here to outline, Ian, is that you just mentioned the word or the sector solar panels. It's not based on hope, it's based on what's up next. So silver demand is not coming from jewelry, for example, where you can say, well, if silver gets more expensive, nobody will buy it anymore. We are in an industry where silver is needed, and if the silver price goes up a little bit, it's not busting up the whole market, right? So it will still continue to be a very, very big thing of the future. So let's talk about Outcrop Silver and especially your Santa Ana high-grade silver project, because I think this is what excites me the most. When you look around in the world, there are few high-grade opportunities, and you have one of those in Colombia. You have, if I read it correct, 3 drill rigs out there right now. Give us a little bit of a rundown of the project. What excites you the most, and what can we expect from your drill rigs, from your 3 rigs?
I'm going to stay in just a teeny bit more in the macro conversation, because If you were an investor in an exploration company, one of the reasons why is you want to feel that upside potential, especially with commodity prices. Now, what's very interesting, and silver is a very unique market because for a couple reasons. Okay. One of the big reasons is that it has a tendency to go up significantly in value. You already mentioned one. The top end price, the products are pretty agnostic to price, right? It's not like copper and electric motor, right? Where 80% of the value is the copper. A solar panel, which is very intensive in silver, is still only about 10% of the value. So it could double in price, it could triple in price. And it's not going to, people are going to go, you know what, we need to find something different, right? And there's not really any alternatives. But even when you think about circuitry or high-end, high technology products, the amount of silver is insignificant. They're just, okay, just give me it. I don't care, right? Because it doesn't affect the price. And then on the opposite side of the supply side, only less than 25% of all silver is produced at silver mines. The rest comes from zinc and lead mines or copper mines. Copper mines are actually 25%. And again, you don't build a copper mine because silver price quadrupled, right? So it is also inelastic. So you have a lot of lack of elasticity in the pricing. So price can go really, really high and it doesn't stop it. If it goes really high in zinc, you start using aluminum, right? Or copper, you go to where zinc doesn't have that. And it's also very difficult to stimulate new supply. Okay, so that makes it a very unique market. So I was already leading. One of the things we love about Santa Ana is there are not very many primary silver projects in the world, period, right? And when I say primary silver, 73% of our value of our deposit is silver. The other 27% is gold. And those ratios change all the time based on where silver price and gold price is, but that's, it's still 73%. It's a true primary silver project. And the other one is grade. It's the highest grade silver project that I know of in the world, right? I'm not saying there isn't another one, but it's the highest one I know of, right? And why is grade so important? Because if you have two underground mines, normally their costs are the same, but how much value is coming out? So normally projects get built in the order of higher grade, right? Because they're obviously have an indication that they'll be more productive. So right now, and then the third part, and I guess maybe I was going to talk about this a little bit later, right? But okay, if you believe that silver price is going to go up, why not just buy silver? Why would you buy an exploration company? And the answer is because we normally trade to a beta. So if silver goes up 20%, we go up 40%. And then the opposite question is the true. Well, why don't everybody invest in exploration companies instead of buying silver? And the problem is dilution. It's because until silver price goes up, we have 3 drills turning, we're doing all this work, and we're feeding. We always need capital, and the problem is dilution. So that's the other thing that I absolutely love now about where we are with Outcrop Silver is because we currently have a resource. Our value is based on our resource. We know how much our resource is valued per each ounce in the ground, and we now know we're adding ounces with the exploration we're doing for way cheaper than our value. Okay, and it's about a 4-to-1 ratio. So it costs me, in round terms, about 50 cents to add each ounce in the program that we currently have, and that should add at least $2 in value at current valuations. So I said in the beginning, I believe silver price will go up. That's our blue sky potential and be very explosive, right? I mean, we have seen in the history of mining some amazing cycles in the equity space. 3,000% increases in a single year are not out of question. The question is when. And what I love about this is I know until that time, we still have a plan that's going to be increasing our value way more than it costs us to get there, right? And we can go deeper into that. But that is what excites me. We have 3 drills running. We have a 3rd drill in there to actually, because things are going so well, the 3rd drill is looking into what we're going to be doing next year. I'll explain it. But we currently have a 37 million ounce resource. We're drilling. We've de-risked it. We've had 5 discoveries this year, so we know where the new ounces are coming from. And now it's all about drilling them out to a level to do an updated resources that we're currently planning on putting out early in next year. right? Which will increase our resource and should increase our value. And of course, companies start revaluing before that catalyst, before you get there. So we're right there in that moment of time where we should see an increase in valuation just on the plan that we have, which is focused on adding resource. Our goal currently is to go from 37 to at least 60, right? Each one of our ounces is worth $2 in the ground today. So we should move from about 75 million to about 120 million, right? As that's the plan. And then the next year we want to go from 60 to 100. And that's what that third drill is doing. It's de-risking that current plan. We told market this is what we were going to do 12 months ago. We've executed on the discoveries, and now we're executing on the drilling. So I'm very excited about where we're sitting because we've been able to deliver and de-risk this project, and we're getting to that point of value creation that we wanted to be in.
That's very good. Thank you very much. I think you did a very good job here in outlining the value of the future. And I think you said that you're valued at $2 per ounce. Can we say that, right? What would be a typical, let's say, takeover price in this region in South America for a silver company? Let's say Major steps in, wants to buy a silver company. What would be a takeover price for an ounce of silver to have a rough idea about the upside just from the current resource?
So when we look at exit, right, and we look at silver, silver is very special, okay, because it's about current valuations. But if we look back in history, maybe back to 2010, the creation of a lot of mid-tier silver companies. And the truth is there's very few pure silver companies left. They still call themselves silver, but now they're actually gold companies, or even copper companies, or they're lead zinc companies, because there's not enough projects as they begin to scale. Okay, so there are still a couple left. I would like to say, and I believe if we look back into history, okay, companies are bought for their production, not necessarily their resource. The second part of that is, though, however, there is massive consolidation and amalgamation within the sector when that does happen. Now, we currently have a valuation. There's a handful of companies that have the type of valuation that Outcrop does because it's such a good project, right? I mean, it's got the grade, it's also got the recoveries, it's also got a premium valuation for the potential on its concentrate, right? Or direct smelting or concentrate. All these other factors that say it has all these things that you would need to be able to produce a very economic mine. The more likely scenario is that we are part of an amalgamation because we have the ability to create accretive M&A, right? We can take our valuation and we will become the consolidator. So really we have the blue sky because of silver price, but we also have that blue sky because we are in a position to create accretive M&A. Right. One of the bigger problems is if you say, look at these junior companies, they're worth so little. What happens when a big guy comes and buys them out? But the problem is that even if they pay a big premium, they're getting them extremely cheap. Right. So I would only sell if somebody is willing to pay way more than what we are currently worth and create a lot of value for our shareholders. But we are in a pole position because we have a premium valuation, because we have such a quality project to create creative M&A. So that's really what I think is the more of a liquidity style event for the company. But the other side of it is for most investors, we already have a very high liquidity. We trade over 1 million shares per day. So we're already creating that liquidity for our shareholders, which is also something that's very, very important. Many days we trade 2 million shares a day. So we have very strong liquidity anyways.
No, that's very good, especially if you have a small cap company. You have to be able to get in and out whenever you want, right? So therefore, liquidity is a very good thing. Ian, you said a couple of minutes ago that one of the problems why not everybody is investing only in silver juniors instead of buying silver itself is the dilution. And I would totally agree with you. That's one of the big issues. But another big issue why companies fail, why they are not so good to invest in, is the management. You can have an outstanding project, but if the management is not able to unlock the value, your whole investment is basically nothing worth. So give me an idea about the management. Do you guys have skin in the game, as we say? So do you have also shares of the company, and do you have institutionals backing you already? Give us an idea, because I think you have one or the other exciting name with you already.
Sure. And I'd like to say many times companies fail because they have a short-term vision and they can't see the long-term overall vision, right? So we have put this company, and really 2024 was massively transformational because we went from a resource and we demonstrated how this project can grow dramatically. And now we're executing now in that value chain, that really that line where we can really create value, right? So we put it on that pathway, but also with a vision of understanding how to create mines. I've been involved in many projects in South America, involved in the first industrial scale mine in the history of Ecuador. I'm a mining engineer. That's the way I think. I believe that this project, and we're putting a pathway in, that this can become a future mine, from the social aspect to the political aspect to the engineering and environmental issues, and making sure we are thinking way ahead of time, okay, in where this company is going. When we put together that transformation in 2024, we also we were able to demonstrate that we were executing. And we had Eric Sprott personally went, I think from, and I can look up the numbers really quick, but I think he went from about a 14% overall investment in the company, and then he's gone up to a 21% increase. So he's really doubled down. And we actually did a financing last year, $7 million, only with Eric Sprott, right? He is personal Eric Sprott too, which is very important. He didn't make a lot of investments last year, and we were one of his biggest. So we have that backing. And the second part, we're about a $75 million valuation and moving towards that 100 million, and showing a pathway how we're getting there. So it'll also allow us to bring in some of those key institutionals, right? My background, I explained, I've been part of the biggest, constructions in South America. I believe in working on projects that can become future mines, but our VPX came from Lundin. He understands these narrow vein mines. You've met Kathy, who came from Silvercorp. Tiana, our country manager, was just named by one of the biggest magazines and newspapers in the country, one of the most influential women in Colombia for the second year straight, right? A lot is because we've been able to demonstrate and really be able to show the importance of this project locally and in the country. We have a board of directors that include Ana Malena, who is the president of Women in Mining and also a director of Freeport-McMoRan in Colombia. We have a team that covers all these different aspects. Inside management and insiders are about 7% of the company. I'm highly aligned in making sure that this is successful, and aligned in making sure that we're creating value. And that's one of the reasons, right? You want management not just say, well, how can I raise money, but can I do it in a non-dilutive form or create more value? We've got that value proposition. Again, our total spend this year is about $12 million. We're extremely efficient. Of that 12 million, about 10 million is directly into drilling. I live in Colombia, and that's a big part of it, watching and guiding the ship to make sure it's got, looking in towards a year from now, 2 years from now. I think we have all the pieces going for us to make a very successful company in the short term, medium term, and long term.
Very good. And I think you just mentioned it, right? You're on a 75 million valuation on your pathway to 100 maybe. You also have Eric Sprott with you already. And these are very important puzzles or pieces of the puzzle if you want to become a company that's able to create value or to get into the institutional level, right? Because this is a huge upside potential if you have the opportunity, if you have the size, if you have the backing to get into this institutional level. That's a huge step for a junior miner. And you could be one of those potential juniors who can be in the next stage very soon. That's very good to know. So, Ian, we talked a lot about the upside potential. Let's also talk about the risks, right? I mean, Colombia, it's not a place where everybody thinks of first when it comes to investing in mining. I have to admit, it's not an everyday thing, especially when you're from Europe to invest into a mine in Colombia. So let's talk about the jurisdiction. Let's talk about the permitting. Let's talk about maybe the risks that you can see in the future. Give us just a rough idea, please.
Well, I'm a strong believer in jurisdiction, and I'm a strong believer that all jurisdictions, you just cannot take it for granted, right? I think it's a risk, no matter if you're trying to produce a project in British Columbia, Canada, Arizona, United States, Nevada, United States, or Colombia, right? You cannot take this for granted. It's one of the reasons I live here, and I've seen what it takes to take big projects across a finish line, right? And I truly believe that the number one most important thing is not approval of your local partners, but they feel part of a project, that they feel this is their project and get their buy-in and their collaboration. And that's one of the things that we've been able to achieve over the last year and a half, right? Falun is the community closest to us. Actually, our office and our core shack are right in the middle of town, right? And also in their center of their square, they put up their letters, and each one of those letters representing something about their town and their municipality. And L standing for the legacy and future of silver, right? So it's now part of their identity, this project. That's what we tried to achieve. And because we achieved that, guess what? Now the regional government, which is Tolima, right? We're part of their 5-year development plans, the importance of silver, because they want to be a part of something successful, right? And they can see that this has this pathway. So from a permitting perspective, all our permits are going to be coming from our regional level. So we don't need any new permits. We just need, eventually we would need a mining permit, right? And that's going to be with the regional government. And that's how you really build a project, right? I call it the triangle is the recipe. You start with strength and you build it out regionally. You can maintain a national reputation, and that's what builds future projects. So we have created somewhat of an insulation around the project, but I'm also very bullish on overall the mining industry. Right now we have the first leftist president in the history of the country, right? But we're coming up to elections in less than 12 months. He cannot run again. And so there's an outlook. There's a reason that Freeport-McMoRan is now here, that Anglo American is now here, that Rio Tinto are now here. And I've talked to them personally, to some of them, and said, I tell everybody you're here because you can see in about 12 months, 18 months that Colombia is going to be where everybody is wanting to move. And they're like, that is exactly correct, right? There's a window here where there's an expected going to be a boom in the industry, right? Which is just upside for us. But I think it's mostly from a perception perspective, because I think we're already checking all the boxes that are required to operate properly in the country. And many people don't know this, but Colombia already is the 5th largest exporter of coal in the world. It already has a massive mining industry, right? Aris Mining is here, so worth over $2 billion. It's a big gold producer in the country. And their projects are near to us. We're in that district within the country that knows mining, knows metal mining. Right to our west is Collective Mining's big project, and they're worth over $1 billion. So there's people that know Colombia, that know that this is actually a place that you can work and operate. I love living here, right? There's a spirit and a culture, an entrepreneurial spirit that is very exciting, and very good people working on the project. We only have one full-time employee in Canada, because there's so much available technical human resource already available here, right? So I think it's got all the fundamental building blocks, and I think the perception of Colombia is going to be changing, which is only further upside for us as a company.
Very good. Ian, thank you so much for getting us the whole story basically on the table. Is there anything in the end that we haven't talked about that would be important to mention from your end?
No, I think I know I've said it a few times, but again, we're extremely excited because we've spent so long to get to where we are today. And that's a program that should be creating at least 4 times if things continue to go even sideways, right? And I'm talking about in the equity markets and in also the commodity markets, that we have a proposition that will create a lot of value for our shareholders. And we're now executing on that plan, and we should start seeing the returns on that. We're fully financed. I guess that's the other part. We're fully financed for this current program that we have, right? So we're not going to be going back to market asking for additional money before we hit those catalysts. So we have a proposition to create value for our shareholders. But because we're the highest grade primary silver project in the world, if silver goes, we are going to go massively also. So we have also that upside potential of being really transformational and be able to take advantage of that. We're in a position, we put all the things into place that we're in an extremely strong position to create a lot of value for our shareholders.
Very cool. Ian, thank you so much for giving us an overview about the whole company, your exciting project, high-grade silver, very good jurisdiction. And I think we're on a good pathway here to have a look at especially silver junior mining companies, and you are one of those. If people want to have more information, they can reach out. We will link everything that they need into the video description, also your presentation. Thank you very much for your time. It was great having you. Thanks.
Yeah, and I guess the last thing is we're spending more and more time. So we're expecting to be September, October, and November in Europe in various locations. So also hope to see people in person and meet you myself. We actually have the same name. It's just different language,
Yeah.
We are both the same name. So.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you very much.